Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Glen Scotia 15-year-old, 46% ABV. Dustin, ex-American oak. I know these are unchill filtered, but I'm not sure about color. And with that dark ex-American oak, I would guess not. But we're going to take a look, continue our journey with Glen Scotia, along with the 15-year, which I believe is your favorite, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, my favorite, and I can definitely tell you, I think for the money, Mike, I mean, $80 whiskey. We don't usually talk too much about money right from the get-go, but man, $80 for this is a really good value. In today's market, especially.
Yeah, here in 2023.
Yeah.
I haven't said that in a while. I know. It's still 46% ABV, which is a solid ABV. Glen Scotia, other Campbelltown whiskey. We've done a few of them now, so this is just continuing our journey.
You got a nice pour there.
I did.
And right away, man, that is a unique nosing whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Funk and spice.
It's like Christmas spice meets, I don't even want to, like stewed fruits and some bitter oak. Some spiced chai latte or something weird like that.
Yeah, some type of tea. I agree with that.
Yeah, like chai tea or something. Just all over the map there with the spices. I mean, and that's where I think they're using a recharred American oak at some point in this process.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen more details on this at some point, but I can't seem to remember them.
I kind of like, I'm beginning to like Glen Scotia's funkiness. It's not quite Springbank level, but it's a nice introduction into funk if you don't want to get too crazy with it or if it's your first time.
Yeah, it's a PG-13 funk.
Mm-hmm.
When you're older kids, you can try the Springbank.
Yes. There, you can stay here. It's fun too.
Yeah, nothing wrong with this, and you can still get these.
Nice little vanilla here in the background.
It's very sweet. Despite all that spice and all of that, funk, it is a very, very sweet forward whiskey.
A little bit herbal.
Yeah. Again, tea, herbal tea kind of notes for sure.
I tell you what, the vanilla is obviously American oak to me. It's a vanilla that I've smelled, nosed many, many, many times. But it's more substantial the more you go into this one. It's just like with anything that's a little bit funky or peaty or smoky. You kind of got to get past whatever the initial characteristic is. Mm-hmm. But that vanilla behind the scene on this one is really nice. What do you pick up on the palate?
So on some of the older bottlings of this, I know this one's new because they've got a sticker talking about where the 25-year they made won a world whiskey a couple years ago. I used to think that was sherry, but now I really think they've done something really nice with a really nice charring on a barrel. And that comes through the whole experience here. I mean, it's very sweet. It's that Glen Scotia fruity, stewed fruit, meets a little bit of like funkiness, maybe a slight herbal funk, with this big, bold, really fun oak spice. Kind of brings me back to the Victoriana, but this one is it's much sweeter. It's more approachable, and then the finish kind of lets the spice loose a little bit and gives you just more of kind of the funky fruit, which really makes this one I want to go back to and keep drinking. Whereas the Victoriana, I'm one and done in a glass. This I just want to keep pouring.
Yeah, so this came off far fruitier on the palate. I wasn't getting up really any of the fruits on the nose initially. Far, far fruitier on the palate, but still a lot of spice there. That's there. And that vanilla, along with, I wanted to define the fruit note a little bit more, almost like fruit that's been a day or two too old.
I was thinking stewed, maybe you're right, maybe slightly overripe.
Like on the ground, like if you're in, I can't tell like what type of fruit it is. I want to say some type of apple or something like that, or pear, but I have an apple tree in back, and sometimes when a few have fallen, and I haven't been out there for a couple of days, the ones that have fallen on the ground, sort of that smell, maybe with a lawnmower or something like that, smashed apples on the ground. Which, again, isn't an unpleasant smell. Just it's different than, it's not necessarily like a full, rich apple smell. It's more of a smashed apple on the ground.
It almost has the grass note even going in there.
Yeah.
It's been sitting in.
No, there is something very field-like.
Oh, yeah.
About this. I wouldn't go so far as to say hay. I wouldn't say barn or hay, but I would say, maybe like light lemongrass to go along with that smashed apple. But plenty of spice and plenty of vanilla with this one compared to previous Glen Scotias.
I can almost, now that we've done water, be convinced in like Apple Jacks or something on the nose a little bit.
That was a great cereal. Gum cutter, though.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, there's something. I mean, the fruit. There's a certain fruit here that's coming out more. It is very much like an orchard fruit.
Mm-hmm. Apple or pear.
And I'm getting a very distinct cinnamon note coming through now.
That spice is developing into cinnamon pretty hardcore at this point.
I mean, there's definitely other oak spices. There's, I mean, some Christmassy stuff going on here.
I tell you what, for me, one of the biggest changes on the nose with water is the char note. I wasn't getting as much as you were getting it, but you got more on the palate. But I mean, once you put some water in it, it becomes ashy.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me a little bit of some of the American ryes I've had that were on the fruitier side, even.
Mm-hmm. They did it with a different cask maturation.
Oh yeah, but in the best way. I mean, I really like that kind of rye spice that's coming through because it's Christmas spice with a little bit of, like you said, kind of fruit that's been laying out on the grass for a couple days.
I tell you what, this is one with a little bit of water. The nose becomes more interesting for sure.
Yeah, I
it was
agree.
too or not one-dimensional, but it was too, it was vanilla, it was a little bit of spice, it was funk. I really couldn't get to some of the fruitier notes because I really couldn't get to any of the fruity notes until I got on the palate. But then with water, it's here.
I like that it cut the spice down a little bit for me, which I think initially I wouldn't say it was subtle at all. It was intense spice. Now it's bringing more of that Glen Scotia malt character forward.
Now, you know me. I am not a person who enjoys spice as much as you do. But this is a type of spice. When you said Christmas spice, initially I agreed with that because it's a very welcoming spice. If I'm going to get spice, this is the type of spice I want. Red Rush 21. That was good spice.
Yes.
This is good spice. Like anything, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
I agree. I love this spice, and I'm not... Even though I like spice more than you, I like it in certain contexts, and this one works. I like it in bourbon more than you do. But I've had a lot of whiskeys where I'm like, man, it's too spicy. It's not working for me.
Yeah, you can overdo it.
This is not it.
You're right. With water, that spice, way more cinnamon. Mm-hmm. Cinnamon, red apple. I'm saying a lot of the same things.
Palate thin to hair in the mid palate with the water.
Expected.
Finish picked up though. Up front, still beautiful. You could convince me a few things moved around here, Mike, but I think it held water beautifully and gave us the same basic whiskey. So if you're somebody who wants to add just a little bit of water, it can hold just a little.
Yeah.
I would not go heavy though. This is already teetering.
Yeah, I put a little bit too much water in mine.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, so 46, you always got to be careful. We had another 46% just here recently that handled water a little bit better, so be careful with this one, although I will still say the nose was better with water. Palate definitely better without water, which isn't a shocker. Anyway, score time.
So what? It actually didn't drop at all for me here.
Really? I put in more water.
Yeah, I just put a very small drop, and actually, I mean, it's even super spicy on the finish now.
It is. It almost turned up that spice. Made it hot or something.
Yeah, but I mean, really, it
made it red.
It held it beautifully. But yeah, just this is great whiskey, Mike.
Yeah, it thinned it down the palate. $80 whiskey banger for an $80 whiskey. They don't know about that. All right, so this whiskey good. You're right. This is more interesting than Victoriana.
Oh yeah.
And I actually would. I mean, it's probably a better whiskey than the 18. If I had to be honest, not that I haven't been. I'm going to go with an 87 on this one. Very good whiskey, great value for the money. I actually enjoy this $80 whiskey. I would like a little bit more ABV, but really the flavors and everything like that, especially when it's cold outside wintertime, they're very inviting. It's a welcoming palate and a welcoming nose. So from those perspectives, it's probably better. The palate, decent. With water, didn't hold up the water very well. That's reflective of my score of 87, doesn't it?
I do think they've changed a little bit, and it's gotten more spicy and less fruity over the years. Mm-hmm. And so I'm probably lowering my score from what it used to be, but I'm still at an 88, Mike. I think this is exceptional whiskey. It's complex. It's got depth. You could convince me 89 on this one, but I think that's just a little too much. So 88, really love this whiskey. For $80, man, pick one of these up. If you're in the UK, they'd probably give it away, with a pack of gum because that's what your all's prices are compared to ours. Yeah, difference. Yeah, but that's definitely a good, regularly available whiskey for a very reasonable price that I would enjoy drinking. I mean, this is maybe $20 more than a Boon of 12, and it's just, there's so much more here. It's got so much more depth. And that 15-year age statement, solid. It's a bold statement and a significantly, you're out the door under $100 whiskey. Yeah, 15 years old is substantial, especially at something 46%. We're not talking under $100, but as soon as you pay taxes, you're right there over it. No, this one's, you're staying under. C note gets you out the door. Yep.
All right, so that's where we're at as far as whiskey score here. If you guys had a chance to try this one, let us know what you guys think. And Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you next time.